that sounds awful foolish. But I admit, I'm not sitting up here telling you anything that I haven't gone through myself. My hand goes up. I have got trust issues. We allow a human heart that Jeremiah describes in 17:9 as the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. We let that heart distort the truth about God. We let a human being plagued by sin affect our attitude and our trust towards God who knows no sin. My wife has a friend. If you consider my wife a friend and you're in this room, I am not talking about you. Let's just make that straight. She is not in this room, okay? But she meets with her on a regular basis, and this is a friend that I've had discussions with as well. And she has seen hurt. She has felt hurt. She has seen pain. She has said, how can I trust a God that allows that to happen to somebody? That's something that they didn't deserve. How can I even say there is a God? She lets her feelings dictate things. She let her feelings about how what she thinks something should be and how it should go dictate things, and it has translated to a trust issue that she has with God, but also with others. Now, she trusts my wife, but she doesn't trust very many people. Here's a reality. Life is unpredictable. We don't have that magic ball. We can't see it. There's ups and there's downs. And through those ups, you get the job that you want, you got the wife that you want, you got the car that you like, you got the kids that you want, some you don't. You got the friends that you like, some you don't. You go through these ups and you go through these downs. And the downs come, and then all of a sudden the job is gone. The vehicle is gone. Some friends have left. Maybe a health scare. Been there. You go through those ups and downs. And in those moments, how can we trust God when everything that seemed at one moment so secure all of a sudden seems so shaky? It's just jittering around. I think we need to understand the truth that the foundation of which we stand on is firm only because of God's unchanging character. Think about that for a moment. A foundation that you're going to build yourself on, a rock that you're going to build on. You get to stand firm because God says, I'm not wavering on something. I have told you something that is true, and I want to stand by it. And I'm not going to change my mind. Because that's something you can hold on to. Because when you build something and you start off strong, you're going to finish strong. Let's look at Matthew 7, verse 24. Anyone who listens to my teaching is like a person who builds a house on solid rock. Now, the flip side to that is that, you could be a fool, and we're going to get there. But anyone who listens to what Jesus says, and you're not just a hearer, but you're a doer also. You listen and you obey what he says. So what does it mean to trust? Let's take a look at a definition of trust. Belief in the truth, ability, and strength of something. Belief in the truth, ability, and strength of something. Let's take that to a biblical translation. Trusting in God means to believe in his ability and in his strength, and what he says about himself and what he says about you are true and unchangeable. It's his ability, it's his strength. He is who he says he is. You are not who you say you are, but who he says you are. And it will not change. As a fact, trust is a choice, not a feeling. My coworker's wife had a choice. When she locked eyes with the ex of her husband, she had a choice to say, I can resort back to my feelings and let my feelings dictate this circumstance that I'm in, or I can trust. Now, she has since, from what I understand, recognized that she didn't go down the trust road. But we have a choice to trust. 'Cause feelings and circumstances, they're going to change constantly. God will not. Our circumstances are going to change, certainly. And in that moment, you're going to go from happy, you're going to go from sad, you're going to go to angry and every other emotion in between. And you're not going to be able to blame it on some sort of medical thing or whatever. It's just going to be the circumstances of which you're in. Those will change. God will not. Let's take a look at Hebrews and Psalm. Hebrews 13:8 says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Psalm 102:27 says, but you remain the same, and your years will never end. There's no changing. That's something you can see. That's something you can hold on to. That's something there that is worth striving for and going after and chasing after, and knowing that it's never going to let you down, because God's never going to let you down. Humans will. God won't. So what is the result of trusting God and Jesus? The salvation of our souls. Took us a little bit to get there, but we're going to go to 1 Peter 1:8-9. And you love him, though you have never seen him. Though you do not see him now, you trust him. And you rejoice with a glorious and inexpressible joy. The reward for trusting him will be the salvation of your souls. Put that all in bold there at the end. The reward for trusting him will be the salvation of your souls. Isn't that awesome? So how can you trust God? It's a question I like to ask. How can you trust him? I think there's a couple of ways we're going to look at. One, by obeying all of his commands. And all is all bold because all means all. Told you we're going to look at the flip side of things, so let's go back to Matthew 7, verse 26, that says, but anyone who hears my teaching and does not obey, it is foolish, like a person who builds a house on sand. So what Jesus is saying is that if we want to be able to handle the crashing waves in life, if we want to be able to handle the storms that are going to come our way, because life is unpredictable, and that's going to happen, then we need to not be a fool and build on sand. We need to listen to what he says and follow what he says and obey everything that he tells us to do. Obey his teachings and his commands. Let's look no further than later on in Matthew in chapter 22, verses 37 and 39 through 40, to the answer to his commands. Jesus replied, you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. A second is equally important. Love your neighbor as yourself. The entire law and all of the demands of the prophets are based on these two commandments. What is he saying? He's saying that with everything that you are, with all that you do, with everything that you say, everything that you act, let it bring God glory by showing love to God and doing what he says and obeying. Love God first. Love others. My oldest son, Mason, is 6. We've done some devotionals with him. One of the devotionals that we started off with on the very first night, it wanted to talk about how, because it was directed towards children, how could you as a child love God? The answer to that was, you love God by obeying him, and what he says you are to do, child, is to obey mommy and daddy. You listen to mom, you listen to dad, you honor and obey them, then you show that you love God by following what he says. And that's no different for us. He gives us a command that with everything that we have, we love him and we love our neighbor. It was just this same week that I was in Greensboro with my wife and my youngest son, Owen, and we were coming back, and it was at the corner of 29. We roll up, and there's a homeless guy there. He has a sign that says, hungry, need food. I didn't even think about it because I see somebody pretty much on that corner all the time. This time was just a little different. He starts hollering at me. He goes, hey! Hey! I mean, at that point, I was like, I don't really want to be all that rude. I mean, I want to roll my window down. I mean, he's really trying to get my attention. So I'll roll my window down and I say something dumb and go, hey, how's it going? He's holding a sign, Richard, that says he's hungry for food. He ain't doing well. But I said it anyways, because it was habit. So he comes up and he goes, man, I'm hungry. I don't need money. I just want food. If I can get some food, I'll get off this corner. And he knew exactly what he wanted. He said this exactly this way. The McDonald's down the street, I can get a 2-for-1